Okay, we're that part of the offseason where the player acquisitions are pretty much done, but there's still some that could happen going into training camp. And it's just kind of fun to see some of the scenarios or some of the trades that could still happen this offseason, maybe into training camp before we start the regular season. So this one has the Lions landing the former number 4 overall pick in Corey Davis in a trade for basically nothing. So let me know. We'll go through the details on this. And Corey Davis is really good. Just been through some injury bugs. We'll look at it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So let's look at it real quick here. Now, remember, Corey Davis, he got drafted by the Titans, was there, picked up by the New York Jets for the last 2 years. And so they're saying, hey, Lions could acquire Davis and a 7th round pick. We'd have to give Davis and a 7th round pick for a 6th round choice. So the Lions would have to give up a 6th round choice and get Davis. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me. Maybe he would want more than that. I'm not sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comments on Corey Davis, because remember, Corey Davis was taken 4th overall. He goes to, first of all, just remember what he did at Western Michigan. Western Michigan, his freshman year, 1,000 yards receiving, no problem. Next year, 1,400 yards, then 1,500 yards, then 1,500 yards, all while scoring 15, 12, 19 touchdowns. He was scoring double-digit touchdowns, almost 20 touchdowns his senior season. So that's what made him go number 4 overall to the Tennessee Titans. Does okay, but they decline his 5th-year option. So then he's picked up by the New York Jets. He just hasn't played. He's played half the games that he's played 9 games in 2021, 10 games in 2022, and just about 500 yards receiving. So that's less than DJ Chark last year. Chark was around that 500, 600 yard mark. So Chark, same thing. Like, kind of there, kind of not. When he's in, he makes some plays for you. When he's not, but he's not in a lot. So it's like, man, come on. So you're just always in that, like, come on. But for a 6th round pick, we could bring him in, put him next to Marvin Jones, and he could really be a fill-in as we wait for Jameson Williams. And because even when Jameson Williams comes back in week 7, I'm sure there'll be unfortunately a couple more weeks until he gets up to speed. So this would allow us for a 6th round pick. I mean, come on, this doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. While the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, they'll be without Jameson Williams for 6 weeks. Marvin Jones Jr. and Josh Reynolds are the next receivers in the depth chart. And Detroit will have to rely on one of those veterans in a 3 wide receiver set, even when Williams returns from suspension. Now, we do have Khalif Raymond as well, but in a 3 wide set, absolutely. You got Marvin, you got Reynolds. I mean, we need those guys, and those guys are older. And so if they go down or whatever, Corey Davis could be a good fill-in for us. Davis may never manage again the 65 catches, 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns that he had in 2021. But the Lions don't need him to be wide receiver 1. We need his size and power. Davis is one of the best blocking wide receivers in the league, and that's not a trait typically guys get paid in the NFL. So it would likely endear Davis to Dan Campbell. So I like this for a couple of reasons, and I think we should do this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, yes or no on this trade. And the reason I like it so much is because Davis won't cost much. Even if it was a 5th round pick, you're bringing in a wide receiver. We don't have the depth that we think we do at wide receiver just because of Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is out. So now you, in a 3 wide receiver set, do we count on Khalif Raymond as much as we think we should, if that makes sense? Because Khalif Raymond's a nice changeup piece, but he's not an outside guy. He's Amon-Ra's backup, basically. He's a slot guy. He's a quick guy. He's somebody that you can do different things with, jet motions. But when you're talking about your staple outside guys, that's Marvin Jones and Josh Reynolds, and then behind them is nothing right now. So I don't know that we need another wide receiver, but at the same time, it feels like we absolutely do need another wide receiver until Jameson Williams comes back. We were counting on Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, and then one of these 2 guys, Marvin Jones or Josh Reynolds. Instead, they're not there. So now what do you do? So I like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on that. Also, I've asked this before, but let me know your favorite 90s wide receiver. We've asked this in our community chats. When we think of 90s wide receivers, for some reason, they're so like popular, even though the Lions, if anything, they weren't great. And when they were, we were running obviously with Barry, but Jermaine Crowell, loved him. I'm trying to remember the play, but he caught this long, just Hail Mary-ish type play down the sideline to keep the Lions in a game once. And he was great for like a season, and then he kind of fell off. Johnny Morton, of course. Herman Moore. I really liked Perriman. Perriman was great. He did this tour thing every year around Michigan where he would they'd play basketball, and it was a bunch of no-namers, and then Perriman would always be there. And he had this sweet, I mean, this thing would be worth $10,000 today. This sweet like varsity jacket, but it was it's like what Eddie Murray or whatever wore. And but it would, it was leather sleeves and it had the Lions helmet. Man, and I actually had something like that when I was a kid. Again, $10,000 all day long. It was like vintage, awesome, original 95, 96. Which, by the way, think about some of the cool Detroit Lions things that you had back in the day that would be worth a ton today. Oh my gosh. I had and let me know your coolest thing you wish you still had. I had a starter jacket. That was awesome. Lions pullover starter jacket that was just right out of 1997. That was super cool. Wish I still had that. I actually had I had a Barry Sanders, or was it a Barry? Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Barry Sanders signed helmet that I have no idea where it went. No idea. No idea. Dang. Barry Sanders signed helmet. So a lot of things, just so many things from the 90s that are worth a lot today. Love it. There's a store in Chicago, just was there. Want to go back because they had all kinds of high school jerseys of players. Just really cool. So it'd be Barry Sanders high school jersey. And it's not as, they just make it up or whatever. It's not like his actual high school jersey, but that would be super cool. I'm not a big memorabilia guy, but I would like to have a couple things, just a few things as I kind of build out the studio and down here and just try to figure it out what I want. But something frameable. It's not something I'd wear because you don't want to wear that stuff. I mean, you could, but it's like that's how I want something cool enough where it's like I'm not actually wearing it. So it's just like a frame thing or something. So let me know that as well. Memorabilia, something from the 90s. Favorite wide receiver. I think Corey Davis is something I'd absolutely do just because he's been injured for the last couple of years. So he's a good receiver. I mean, he's big, strong, fast, physical, good blocker. He's a good receiver. I think we take a chance on him if it's a 6th round pick, even if it's a 5th round pick. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on